GM. GM. All right. Trade of the day, following on from daily levels. There's one thing that I didn't talk about in daily levels, which is obviously still worth keeping on your radar, which is AI. Um, and this video is not going to be about AI. This video is going to be about looking at coins and some of those other categories and how they're looking. What I want to say about AI is, so far, if you're looking at like comparing AI to real world assets, I want to look at Fetch. And Fetch has been the AI leader. If you look at it this way, Fetch is top, 6 billion. ICP, I don't class that as AI. Fetch and Render have been top, but Fetch clearly top of the charts, right? The difference of AI versus real world assets, look at the market cap. Total market cap of RWA is 8 billion. Total market cap of AI is 35 billion. AI market cap can grow, absolutely. Can it go to 100 billion? I think it can. I'm not saying it won't. But currently, it's about 4 times bigger than RWA's. So, and also it's been in an extended uptrend. There's probably more upside in RWA's. And to look at it in a very simple sense, let's go and look at just a weekly chart of Fetch. The AI category as a whole has really been up for the entire time the bull market's been up. So since after FTX collapse, you've had the AI narrative in full steam, right? 550 days, 80 weeks, whatever, right? Now, that doesn't mean that AI is going to end right away, but when you compare it to NVIDIA, which has been really the bellwether for all AI, NVIDIA is also up since October 2022. And if you remember, if you were on the stream with me and Professor Ayush on Sunday, you'll know that I asked him, what does he think about NVIDIA? And he's like, NVIDIA probably is going for its own final leg. Now, if it's going to break out now, we don't know. NVIDIA earnings are this week. They're tomorrow. Or is it today? It's... Wait a minute. NVIDIA earnings is today. It's tonight after the close. So, if you're looking at NVIDIA, it's probably got another leg. Let's say it goes up like this and then boom, it goes into its final blow off top leg. So NVIDIA is probably closer to the end of its overall bull run than some other sectors because it's been the leader, right? AI has led this bull market. The leaders tend to top out first and then the laggards go after. The comparison of a real world asset, let me find an RWA coin that's existed for a while. I don't know how long's Pendle been around. Pendle's probably not around that long. It is, yeah, Pendle. So we look at Pendle and sorry, get Pendle in here. I would pick Ondo, but Ondo's a very new chart, so it doesn't give us as much price history. And we look at Pendle here on the right hand side. Let me look at it like this. So Pendle really started to move after October. Pendle started to break out in later 2023. NVIDIA broke out properly in May of 2023 over here. And crypto AI obviously had its first run earlier in the year and then had its second breakout later in the year. But overall, AI has captured more mind share since October 2022, along with AI in the stock market. And RWAs have done well, for sure. But I think they have more room to run, especially when you compare the biggest catalyst for RWAs, which is Ethereum itself. And so let me now drag these up and just show them kind of side by side. Drag this up, drag this one up, drag NVIDIA up, and then drag Ethereum down. So the fact Ethereum has lagged tells me that if Ethereum is the runner, if Ethereum's what leads this next stage of the bull, you want to look at stuff that has not performed as well when Ethereum has underperformed. To me, that's stuff on Ethereum that could be old DeFi or it could be real world assets And I think these RWAs with Ethereum are the biggest growth areas. I think AI can do well. AI can definitely keep increasing, but risk reward, do you have higher potential upside on some Ethereum based stuff and some AI stuff? I think you do. So I'm not bearish AI. I'm still holding Akash. I think Akash's chart and structure is great. I think it goes higher. It breaks to all-time highs. But it's to think that crypto AI will run beyond the Nvidia is probably foolish, because crypto AI has really followed Nvidia for most of 2023 and 2024. So I would imagine that when AI tops, crypto AI probably tops too. But Ethereum could keep running after that, and so could RWAs. So could, election coins, the ETF coins, whatever. And that's something to keep in mind. Are the best gains ahead of us in AI or behind us? I think the best gains for Fetch are behind us. Can Fetch double? Sure. But Fetch has gone up, from the bear market lows. It's gone up from 2 cents to $2.50. Right? It's up 100x from the bear market lows. Akash even is up like 30x, 35, 40x. I think that other sectors will provide better price appreciation. And again, this is all contingent upon ETH. If ETH leads the next leg of the market, you've got to expect that stuff that hasn't been running is probably what's going to run next. And so AI, Bitcoin, memes. That was always that had been my 3 sectors to focus on. I think that's still broadly true. I think memes will still do well. But also memes are probably have the best runs behind them. Right? Pepe has gone up massively. WIF's gone up massively. Pepe's 5-6 billion market cap. Can it go to 20? Sure, but that's a 3x. And it doesn't mean it's a bad place to trade or a bad thing to focus on. It absolutely can do well. But I would lean more towards the newer stuff. If you're going to play meme coins, like I said, Base and Solana meme coins, the newer stuff, treating them as this, place to catch stuff under 10 million market cap and try and ride it up to 100 million or 200 or 300 million, like the growth. But there's a lot of dilution in memes. There's also a lot of dilution in AI. There's loads of scammy shit AI projects that have launched since Nvidia's been flying. And there isn't a lot of dilution in RWA yet. There's probably more growth there. You're probably more likely to still be semi-early to that. Now, I don't think you're early to anything at this point. You can't go up for 18 months and say you're still early. But there are always going to be opportunities and pockets and sectors. So I just wanted to confirm or cover that off. I'm not bearish on AI. I just think that probabilistically, you're going to see better returns in other areas on balance as a whole. But as for Akash, Akash itself is not at all-time highs yet, has an amazing chart, looks great against USD and looks great against Bitcoin as well. Now it needs to break out, and if it breaks out and gets above all-time highs, that's when it can really have its run. But I'll be looking to exit Akash probably once it breaks above all-time highs and starts to have a blow-off top phase, because I don't think it's going to go much beyond that. If it breaks to $10, $12, $15, that's probably where I'd start to look at a potential top forming. And that could all be wrong. Maybe AI is going to be the fucking biggest thing ever, but the market doesn't tend to reward people who are late, and anyone who's just getting into AI now is late. Right? Stanley Druckenmiller, who's one of the best investors in history, was a big AI bull and bought Nvidia in October 2022 at the fucking absolute lows. And he's already started to sell his position 18 months later. Not because he doesn't believe in AI, but because he understands how markets move. And the vast majority of the gains on Nvidia are probably behind it. Right? It's probably not going to 5x from here. And you should also take heed of that. The whole goal, the only thing that you're trying to do as a trader or an investor is be early. So what are you most likely to still be early to? Probably the stuff that's been ignored until now, which is Ethereum, because it's been really shit on, and projects based on that. Now, I want to look at some of these coins in order and just look at how their structures are. So looking at Ethereum, here's ETH. Let's look at some weekly charts with the bands and the structures. Let's even go maybe monthly. ETH all-time history index. Looking at this. Is that the monthly bands? 12, 21 bands. There we go. So Ethereum in a strong monthly uptrend above its 50 EMA. The bands have gone from red to green, green to red and back to green. Strong early uptrend happening there on Ethereum. Solana, same thing. Strong chart, bullish, above the bands, monthly bands holding, building a base below all-time high. Probably goes for a breakout later this year. Looking down through the others, like Link, if you're looking into maybe the RWA narrative, Link's monthly chart is lower, but still good in terms of it's flipped the bands to green. It's above the 50 EMA, as it should be, of course, in a bull market. Of course, it needs to get above this $20 level, but if it does, it can probably have a strong run higher. Dogecoin has a really good chart where it had its big blow off in 2021, lengthy bear market, bands red, crushed for months and months and months and months, reclaim, holding, bands are green, above the 50, consolidating. If Doge gets above 22 cents, it's going to run. Litecoin, and this is where you want to see like when are things going to move. Litecoin, much weaker than everything else I've showed. The bands aren't even green yet on Litecoin's monthly. That tells me that if you're trying to time these things, your assumption would be Ethereum, Solana, Doge, they're all stronger than Litecoin. That would tell me that Litecoin goes later. So if I was putting these in order, my focus on Litecoin would be much later in the cycle, towards the end, as a trade. You maybe get 6 weeks or 8 weeks of a nice swing trade on Litecoin, maybe end of this year, start of next year. Depends how the structure forms. The NFTs. So let's look at a couple of NFT floor prices for Miladies. You look at the max. That's not a bad chart, right? From 2022, in ETH terms, they've just trended up and trended up and trended up, about to break out. So NFTs are, for as much as they've been considered dead, they're starting to show some strength. Crypto, Pudgy Penguins is another one. I think these are probably at all-time high. No, they're down from it. They had a spike up there in February, back down. If they start to rise up above a 15 ETH floor again, right, and I think this happens later. I think the real appreciation comes later on. The other one would be CryptoPunks, just as an OG. And they're actually in a downtrend right now. Big run up in 2021, has really been bleeding all the way. So when you start to see CryptoPunks flipping back above a 50 or 60 ETH floor, right, and it starts to move up again, that's your sign that NFT mania is probably starting to come back. But I don't think it's going to be all over. I think meme coins have taken over the mind share from NFTs. I wouldn't buy NFTs as an alternative to memes. I would buy them as just the flex and the big price appreciation towards the end of an Ethereum run. And what else was I covering in that other one? Solana we covered, NFTs covered, election narrative, yeah. And then let's look up a couple of election coins. Let's look at, well, what do we have? We've got MAGA. Oh, we've got Trump, sorry. It has to be Trump. I don't know if these charts don't tend to find the right ones. I'm just going to go on Deck Screener. It's easier. Right, weekly chart of Trump. Strong weekly uptrend, holding the bands, pushing towards the highs, building a base, ready to break out. So if you're looking at like all those sectors I talked about, should you be focused on Litecoin yet over Trump? No, Trump. More immediate narrative, debates coming up, election season, and the charts, most importantly, are far more bullish. Litecoin, if it's going to move, it's probably going to be later on. And so you have to place these in order of when you think that there's going to be catalysts for them, and trade them in that manner. And overall, I think that's it. Last couple will be AI, right? You've got AKT, and the Nvidia earnings is going to be a big telling move. But look at this monthly chart of AKT; it's absolutely amazing. Bands red, bands green, consolidating below all-time high. Cash looking great. When you go to some of the others, Render, many of these have hit their all-time high. Don't get me wrong, Render broke out of all-time high, came back, it's still holding up nicely. That's still a strong chart, but it's probably a bit further on towards its top. And Fetch, same thing, right? I think the best gains in Fetch are behind us, not ahead of us. Can it go higher? Sure. But does it have 10x in it? Probably not. So I look at it like that, and a lot of what you do as a trader in crypto is pick your areas to focus on and then stick to them until they're disproven, until you're invalidated. The reason I say this is because there's going to be other stuff that pumps, right? There's going to be a random fucking layer one that pumps. There's going to be some new narrative that pops up out of somewhere. And there's going to be stuff that will distract you over the next few months. And you don't want to split your attention too widely. These sectors that I've given, I mean, you've got Ethereum, Solana, meme coins on Solana base, RWAs on Ethereum main chain, the next ETF narrative, which I would say probably just stick to Doge, and then later on Litecoin, because Dogecoin fits the meme narrative too. And NFTs on ETH. I mean, that one's simple. If you're going to buy one, just buy one and leave it. You also don't even have to do it, right? Because I think it's only the expensive ones. If you don't have a big portfolio, you're not going to buy a Milady, which is like 5 ETH or whatever, right? That's fucking 15K. You don't have to. You can just not use it. But use the NFT sector as your kind of top signal. When you start to see those going crazy, it's probably close to the top. And then election coins. I think focusing on all that for the next 6 months is probably going to be where most of your gains will come. And if you time it, you use your systems, you focus on buying confirmed breakouts, breakout structure, retests of key weekly or daily trends like the trend bands or the 50, 100, 200 EMAs. Those are the areas where you're probably going to get the big swings that will increase your portfolio. Outside of that, there's a million other sectors, and every sector will have its day. And if you go on CoinGecko, you can see them all, right? At some point, you're going to see, I go here, cryptocurrencies, categories, right? Layer ones. You could see DeFi coins running again. You could see liquid staking, restaking. You could see DeepIn, which is kind of a topic, a sector that's been rumored by a lot of people to do well. You could see layer twos, right? ZK Sync's going to launch next month, and you've got Arbitrum Optimism, etc., etc., etc. You got gaming. People will try and shill you gaming. Metaverse is going to come back. All that shit. Storage, fucking yield farming, play to earn. All this shit. Oracles. At some point, you'll wake up and there'll be like Oracle coins pumping. Does that mean that you should FOMO into Oracle coins if it's not in your plan? No. If you have a plan laid out already, you have a thesis for why it can move, and it's something that can have a good chart and a multi-week trend, trade it. But if it's not that, and you have those multiple sectors I laid out, if you're patient, you wait for your setups, you trade them, and then you, most importantly, hold with patience until they're invalidated, and you don't forget to take profits, you will do well. And it's not about picking the next 100x, right? You might get 100x. That's great. It's about playing the rest of this bull market as well as you can. So that's it. And that's just right now. Remember, this is just Wednesday, 22nd of May, current thoughts. That can all change. What if ETH ETF gets rejected? Well, we have to revise all these opinions, right? What if there's a big change in the fucking election? Well, it's going to affect the election coins. You don't know what's going to happen. What if, who knows? If Bitcoin breaks out, if Bitcoin goes to 100K, all of this can change, because Bitcoin going to 100K could just reignite this insane new retail frenzy, and we don't know what's going to run. You have to stay in touch. The market changes all the time, but you should not flip-flop your bias every single day. you should still have your plans, you should still have your processes set, and you should trade things when they meet your rules. If you don't have rules, create them. You just need a very simple system. It can be something like the daily EMA bands or the weekly EMA bands. Find stuff in uptrends, market structure, higher highs, higher lows, and wait until the time is right on the chart and then trade the narrative. Like Litecoin, for example, is a good one. I've no doubt Litecoin will pump. At some point, Litecoin will pump. But you can't just buy Litecoin. I mean, if you bought Litecoin over here or here, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to wait for it to pump, you're sitting in it for a year, for 8 months, for 6 months, and it's opportunity cost. So when do you actually buy Litecoin? Well, you buy Litecoin when there's some signs of a trend beginning. That would be higher highs and higher lows. What's Litecoin doing currently? It's not doing higher highs and higher lows. It's currently doing sort of this very long compression. So Litecoin is not in any kind of trend. If Litecoin goes into a trend by making a high and a higher low, that's when you're going to see it trend up into wherever its high is. That's when there's a high, a higher low. You're trading it then on the breakout of this, the retest, riding it up there. Just like over here, right? You want to avoid Litecoin as best you can in all of this shit. You want to wait for the low, the high, the higher low, the breakout, start to trade the momentum there. Ride it up, try and get out as close to the top as possible. You're never going to catch the absolute top. But if you're able to get into Litecoin over here at 94, and you're able to get out after this big bearish weekly at even 297, isn't that a good trade? Yes. Pretty much up for all of it. Litecoin's not in that structure yet. Other coins are. So focus on the ones that are currently strong on high time frames. Keep your eye on the ones that can come along later. And that will set you up best for the rest of the bull. GM, GM.